Now, university students have begun rationing lecture attendance as a measure of cutting down of cost of transportation. For many of them who do not reside on campus, this is the only buffer against the frequent hikes in transport fares. Manuel Cranting has our latest edition of Joy 11 Standard Series.
Instead of attending classes from Monday to Friday, I now have to choose 3 of the days that I have a lot of packed classes and then show up in school.
Yes, we are driving empty in the campus because not all of the students have money to be taking taxi.
Me moving from home to my workplace, I realized that the transportation at the end of the month was more than the salary I was receiving, so I had to quit the job.
It's rush hour Monday evening, and at the Legon bus stop, it's a hustle as conductors scramble for passengers. Behind these faces that take turns to join the vehicles are real struggles by students to even get to school in the first place.
When I started Legon in level 100, I used to pay 2 cedis 70 pesos for transportation. That was if I had a straight car from where I lived to Legon first. Fast forward, it moved to 3 cedis, then 4 cedis. In fact, at the beginning of the year, transportation from where I lived to Legon was 5 cedis 50 pesos. But currently, I have to pay 8 cedis 50 pesos to get to Legon every day. And that is too much for me.
Inside the university's campus, I meet final year consumer science student Nana Abena Grant. She, like many of her non-resident mates, are now rationing their class attendance, cherry-picking which lectures they can miss.
My first year, I had classes from Monday to Friday, and I made sure that I attended all my classes because it was important for me to be present in class and for that to reflect on my grades. But fast forward 3rd year and now in my final year, I have to find ways to cut costs. So instead of attending classes from Monday to Friday, I now have to choose 3 of the days that I have a lot of packed classes and then show up in school. As much as I want to be present in class from Monday to Friday, because of the economic situation, I cannot. It's not an option for me. I used to work to support myself in school. And then this year, the prices of transportation just kept increasing because of course, the hike in fuel prices. Now, comparing me moving from home to my workplace, I realized that the transportation at the end of the month was more than the salary I was receiving, so I had to quit the job.
Nana Abena's grades are now at stake. Her lecturers are on her neck for what she has close to no control over.
Recently, for instance, I was reprimanded by a lecturer for not showing up to her class for a number of days. And so she was complaining, and I had to explain the situation to her. But of course, you know, sometimes those explanations, they expect you to be in class, so you have to be in class. You can't make excuses because you are facing financial challenges with regards to transportation. When you're in your first year, you are eager to show your parents your grades. So once you check your MIS web and then you make the grades, the A's and the B's are flowing, you're in a hurry, you're in a haste to show it to your parents. Oh, look at this, look at that. But now if they ask you, like, oh, the lecturers have not released the results yet. That's what the song they are singing now. The grades have moved from A, B to a C now, and you know that you can do better, given the conducive environment and the circumstances, you can do better. But because you have to, find your way around issues, have to work and do this and that here and there. So the grades are not the best. But what can you do?
For many students in Nana Abena's situation, their woes are compounded by the university's perennial accommodation challenge, especially because prices of off-campus accommodation spaces are way over the roof now. What's the solution? Patching.
I couldn't get accommodation when the portal was opened, and I reached out to some of my friends to find out if they could help me out. And unfortunately, one of my SHS juniors was able to get accommodation in one of the halls. So he asked that I can come around and then stay with him. So he's the one I'm currently staying with.
Kwame Adamu, not his real name, is in his third year at the university. Born and bred in the Upper East region, Kwame has no relatives in Accra. Kwame tells me how embarrassing it is to go through the university living literally under the care of friends.
Right to do certain things in the room. You can't say certain things are going on and you can't contribute because you are not a legal member in the room, so you don't have that freedom to express yourself or to even do certain things that you want to do openly. You can't do it. So certain things, an issue occurs in the room, they try to look on you because you are the patient. Anything that is wrong, you are the one who are causing it because we are the legal members. We're not doing anything wrong. I remember one time he warned me and he told me that he will pack my things out of the room. I thought it was just a joke, and actually I came back from lectures one day and my things were found outside by the door, and I spoke to one of the legal members in the room. He said he brought me back in and said he will speak to the guy too. And the guy is in level 100 for that matter, and I'm in 300. And I really felt bad because the level 100 who just came and you are doing this to, if I was in SHS, I'll be your senior and you are doing this to me. But that's how it is. You have nothing to do because you're a pressure and you just have to go by it.
After a very long day in class, many non-resident students at the University of Ghana, they come here to join public transport, or trotro as they call it, to find their way home. Well, the effect is a lot of the taxis on campus remain empty.
During the increase of the petrol right now in campus, sometimes I used to have pity, sympathy for the students. Some of the students that don't have that much money. Maybe in class, some of them have 4 classes in a day, taking taxi in and out. For Water Hall to Desperate is 8 CD that we used to charge, which is a little bit very expensive. Yes, we are driving empty in the campus because not all of the students have money to be taking taxi.
Call it a problem of the economy spiraling through all corners of student life. Till the government fixes the situation, take it easy on university students you meet. They may just be another Nanabena or Kwame Adamu. Manuel Cranting, JoyNews, Accra.
Now joining me for a conversation on this is Jeffrey Obimpon, Doreen Kwashe, Cleopatra Azantilo, and Justice Kobana Jr. Good morning and welcome. Let me start with you, Jeffrey. How do you relate to the story of rationing lecture because of high cost of transportation?
All right, thank you once again. My name is Jeffrey. As you said, I'm in level 200, studying material science and engineering. Talking of the transportation in terms of my lectures going and all the other stuff, I'm in Mensa Saba Hall, as a matter of fact, and moving from Mensa Saba Hall to the engineering school is a very long distance. So, as a guy, normally, I don't do that. I don't really go for the taxi, so I normally do the attendance by walking. So I usually walk, and it's very tiresome. I must be honest with you. It is not easy. In fact, upon reaching the premises, you will know that you have, really been exhausted. And it is not easy, but we try to do our best. Sometimes you need to cope and then take a cab. It's not easy at all, and it's very expensive. Very expensive.
Doreen, Jeffrey says for him, he walks because he's a guy. What about you? How do you go about rationing your lectures because of high cost of transportation?
Okay. Good morning, first of all, and thank you for this opportunity. Okay, so with respect to transportation, I'm in the diaspora. He's in the traditional hall. And from diaspora to main campus is quite lengthy. Main campus is where all our lecture halls are, and then you would have to leave diaspora every day to main campus for lectures. And here lies the case. Shuttle is, let's say, the cheapest, since taxi is very expensive. So if you would want to be boarding taxi every day to be comfortable and go which time you want, it's costly. So if you want to pick the shuttle, previously when I came to school first, level 100. So when I came to school first semester, picking a shuttle cost just 1 cedi 50 pesos, and then they increased it to 2 cedis, and now you have to get a shuttle card which costs 10 cedis, and you have to be reloading each and every time. so that you'll be able to use the card. And when you don't have a card, you have to pay 3 cedis. So this is, I mean, it's expensive. And if you are a bit late, you would have to take a taxi. Taking a taxi too is expensive, but you still have to go for lectures. So then, I don't know. Me personally, I've been working if the place is not very far, but most of my lecture halls are far. So then I have to rush to get the shuttle. And if you don't get the shuttle, it means you are taking a taxi. And if you don't want to take a taxi, you are missing lectures. That's what it is.
Do I get the feel that you don't rush in your lectures?
I don't rush. Pardon, I didn't get what you just said.
No, I mean, you don't rush in your lectures. You go for all the lectures that you have, right?
Yes, I attend every lecture. I rush for lectures every day, but then maybe something might have kept you late and then you don't get to board the shuttle. So that's when you would have to contemplate on whether to take a taxi or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cleopatra, she says that she attends all her lectures. Do you also attend all your lectures, or you do ration because of the conditions that you do face? Cleopatra, can you hear me? If you can you
Yes,
unmute? So, good.
yes, please, I can hear you.
Good. So she says that she attends all her lectures. What about you? Do you ration? And if you do, how do you go about the lectures that you do attend?
Well, fortunately for me, I stay on campus, and my faculty happens to be very close to my hostel. So it's about a 5-minute walk from my hostel to the faculty. But when I was in first year, I was off campus, and that was very, very hard for me, especially in my first year. I had to commute from the nearby areas of campus to come all the way to the faculty as well. And that wasn't easy for me as well. I had to take a transport, and we did not have the school shuttle system going all the way to that part of campus as well. And it was very problematic. So I was spending from my own pocket, if I should say, to come to school regularly for lectures.
Interesting. Cleopatra, how has some of your friends who have to ration their lectures because of where they live been impacted academically?
Academically, there's a lot, because I know a few of my friends who even have had to even stop school because they were not able to pay their fees as a result of the university's new policy on the payment of fees. And so even with commuting, sometimes some people don't even have an interest to come to class as a result of the high prices in fuel, because sometimes if you want to come from neighboring Kote or Ayediase, it costs about 2 cedis. And if you are coming in and out a week, you'll be spending more than 10 Ghana cedis on transport a day. So some people definitely are disinterested in coming for lectures. And unfortunately also, my faculty is located right in campus, like in the middle of campus as well. So it's very hard for them. Yes.
How many of your friends have had to, probably stop because of cost of transportation?
How many? I can't quantify it, but I know about 10 people. And funny enough, my classmates, a lot of them are actually off campus. About 80% of them are off campus persons. So I know personally about 10 people who have had this problem or are facing this problem.
Wow. Let me come to you, Jeffrey. For you, I'm sure you have friends. Or how has the cost of transportation and for the fact that people have to ration lectures affected some of your friends, and what's their situation now?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me be straight with those who are outside campus. The transport increments actually affected anyone, everyone at all here across board. And those who are coming from Tema and all those areas, they sometimes have to miss class. it is not their fault. I quite remember we had an IE last week, and in fact, the IE was supposed to be taken on a Wednesday, and a student had to complain that where he was coming from is quite farther. The lecturer had already fixed the time at 8:30, and the student claimed that by that time he wouldn't get any car or any means of transport to the engineering school. So the lecturer had to consider that and then push the time, or the day actually, to Friday, and the time a bit to 9 a.m. And on campus here, in fact, I don't really know for my friends. I mean, none of them have given me any reason that because of transport they have quit or something. But then they usually miss lectures, as a matter of fact, because it is very expensive. So those who can't afford to walk, they actually have to miss. They sometimes have to give you some funny reasons that they can't make it, but you know clearly that there's, as a matter of fact, it's all about the transport, brouhaha. Yeah.
Interesting. Doreen, I remember way back when I was on campus, sometimes you'd have to walk several kilometers to go for lectures. Sometimes you'd have to decide you will not make it, and you would go for your friends to take the lecture note so you can also study to know what's going to happen. For you and within your circles, how does that play out?
Pardon, can you please come again?
I mean, within your friends, how do people have to, forego lectures and come for your lecture note to study because probably he or she could not afford the transportation to the lecture?
Okay, I personally haven't met such friends yet. I mean, I haven't gotten into that situation before. I haven't had any friend asking for notes because he or she couldn't come to class or something.
Interesting. Okay. Cleopatra, I don't know if you've had friends who would have to come for your lecture note because they couldn't turn up for that lecture because of transportation. Cleopatra, did you
Sorry,
hear me?
I didn't get the question.
Yeah, I was asking that how regular do you have friends who come to you for lecture note because they missed that lecture due to transportation problems?
If the connection is quite unstable, please.
Okay. Is it clear now?
Yes, please.
So I'm just trying to find out from you. You mentioned earlier that you have about 10 people who do face this kind of stress about due to lack of transportation, their education is affected in a way. And I'm asking, how regular do people come to you for lecture note because they are not able to attend these lectures?
Yes, I do. Yes, please. I do have friends who are going through this problem, if I heard you correct.
I'm trying to find out from you, how regular do people come to you for lecture notes because they are not able to come for lectures? Okay. I think that we would have to wrap it up here on the news desk. We've been speaking to some students who have been sharing their thought on how students have to ration lectures due to transportation costs. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on the news desk on JoyNews.